Good morning, everybody. Today is Wednesday, April 11th. Welcome to the Wednesday Wisdom. Have some few people here this morning, and this live call happens every Wednesday, 9 to 9:30. For those that are listening to the recording, I record every single call. Well, that's not true. I missed one. I did great, too, that day, and then I totally forgot to turn the recording on. I was like, oh, my gosh. Anyway, so they're all recorded normally and on the website. HelloExtraordinaryLife.com is the website, and all the past recordings with titles are on there, so anything that you're interested in, you can go check it out. You can also go there and sign up for a free guide on steps to reprogramming your own negative self-talk. It's a 4-page document that gives you tips and tools about how to begin and continue doing that, because it's an ongoing process. I also do a 6-week course that I don't have the next date yet, but you can check that out also on the website and see what that's all about. If you're interested, stay tuned for dates that will be coming up. I also do one-on-one coaching for those that want to go deeper and need that one-on-one development and expansion and growth to go deeper and more private than a group call. So that's the scoop about what I do, and this call is a place to come and I talk about a topic, which today is, I called it I didn't listen to my intuition. It's really, I listened to my intuition and I didn't take action. So it's how do we know what our intuition is saying to us? How do we recognize it? And then how do we take action on it? Because some of it, we have lots of programming from our own life history. So I have this book that I wanted to just give you a little background about some of the development of our brain and how we are conditioned to not listen to our feelings and our intuitions. Because when we're just being developed in the womb, we start with the reptilian brain. It's also called the brain stem. And this is out of the book called Feelings Matter by how do you say her name? Cian D. Rohan. It's called Feelings Matter, Keys to the Unexplored Self. And she breaks down some science into some much simpler terms that I can understand, so because that makes it a little more palatable for me to read. So she's talking about the reptilian brain, and that's the first part of our brain that gets formed, which is our survival. It's all about our survival. All it can recognize is what's safe or not safe, or what's good or not good. That's it. That's its job. Now, if we are in a safe situation when we are in the womb, the limbic brain, which is our feelings, comes close behind the reptilian, will develop together, and then the neocortex, which is our logic, will be developed. Now, this is as we grow and as we age. And as long as we feel safe and comfortable in our environment, and that's created for us beginning in the womb, the nose will develop naturally and normally and coexist and help each other be successful. We often are taught, and it's created from the womb into when we're born, that it's not safe. Our feelings are not safe to listen to. But the reptilian brain cannot survive on its own. It's a survival part of our brain, but it needs an ally. It needs someone to partner with, because on its own, it's not really functional except for survival. So it allies with the neocortex, which is logic. That's our thinking brain. Right? So now we have survival and thinking. Kick the feelings out because they're not trustworthy. This is what many of us are taught. It's just how it is. It's not a right or wrong thing. But you can see it all over our culture, how we are taught to not honor our feelings, to dismiss our feelings, and they get minimized, either by ourselves or someone around us. Grief is a big one. People don't want to talk about it. People don't want to see you cry. They don't want to see you upset. Oh, it's okay. It'll get better. Time will heal, blah, blah, blah. You know, and it's very minimizing and dishonoring our feelings. That's where our intuition is born out of. Now, learning to trust those gut instincts and those feelings. I looked up the definition of intuition. It is the ability to acquire knowledge without proof, evidence, or conscious reasoning, or without understanding how the knowledge was acquired. All that comes out of our sensations and our impressions energetically, and most of us are not. That's where all that feeling is, and the limbic system. It's a system because every part of our body has it. So our bodies are always reading what's going on in the universe, energetically, intuitively. And what do? Logic kicks in, survival kicks in, kicks it all out. That intuition. Oh, no, that's not real. Most of us are highly intuitive, highly sensitive, and we're taught to not listen and not trust that. Because logic kicks in, reasoning kicks in, and then we dismiss it. Do you all relate to that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
yep.
All right. Just making sure I'm on track here, because I know that's been my life of survival, and it comes in various forms, that place of survival and logic and reasoning, and it's all valuable. We need that also. When it comes to listening to the intuition, it's like a muscle. Like when we start working out, it takes time, and it takes honoring it and trusting it, and often we need a lot of evidence in the beginning to confirm that our intuitive hit or knowing is true or is valid. And most of us, our voice in our head is all our voice. So sometimes when we get messages from Spirit, it's our voice or our intuitive little message. Mine comes like this, one way it comes through. It floats through my brain as this thought. It kind of floats through. It's real soft and real subtle. I speak pretty softly usually. And then it floats out. And then it's revealed later. I'm like, oh, yeah, I already knew that. And then there's other ways, like this situation yesterday with this, or Monday with this woman, where everything in me was screaming. It was this whole sensation of based on my experience and my feelings of her words and her energy and what was going on with her. And when she said, I'm ready at the end of the call and was ready to hire me, this old programming, still there obviously, oh, she wants to hire me. Oh, yes, she wants to do this. I hung up the phone going, you know what? It's going to be a nightmare. Because no matter how I'm helping her and no matter how much she's paid me, it's not worth the heartache and the headache that I would get because she's not ready. And I knew it, but I still listened to the words because there's my reasoning brain and my logic brain goes, oh, I'm going to get paid. I'm going to make some money. I'm going to be able to help somebody who's not ready. So how do I take action on that? My action in that moment, and this is going to maybe different in every place that we hit that I'll call it a wall, that place where we know that we should say something and we don't. So when I look back, I think, I could have just stopped her and said, I don't think this is the right time. That would have been the end of it. But I didn't speak up, and I woke up the next day with a raging headache at the base of my neck, which on the front side is my throat chakra, because I didn't speak my truth. So there's how it affects the body for me. Intuition is a very subtle thing, and it's developed over time. Some people just have these gifts that are natural, and yet when I worked with a lot of them, they still doubt themselves. There's still the logic in our brain and the teaching that says, oh, that's not real. Oh, you're not good enough. Oh, you're not really hearing that. So it's that time of being able to distinguish what it is. And it comes different for all of us, I think. Maybe there's some similarities. Mine is that small, subtle voice, or the feeling in my body, or the gut. One of my other ones is it's a visceral reaction. When I know it's the right step for me to take, it's intuitive, and my body's going, yep, it's where you need to go. And viscerally, I have this rolling in my stomach that makes me want to throw up. So I've never, ever thrown up. It's just that feeling of like, oh. So recently this happened. I signed up for this course. It's called Body Joy, because the place I don't take action or take care of myself the best is my body. I take care of my spirit. I listen to my body in the intuitive way, but I wasn't really moving my body and taking care of it like it's the temple that's hosting my spirit. And I was resisting it, and I didn't want to pay to do this course, and now it's been 8 weeks in, and I told her yesterday, we had a call, and I said, I just want you to know, no matter how much I was kvetching about it, and no matter how much I complained about doing it, and I was resisting doing it, in my heart and in my gut, I knew this was where I was supposed to go. Because I had that visceral reaction. And I've learned to honor that and take the action behind it, even though I'm sometimes terrified. Sometimes it's a nudge, like some people get prickles in the back of their head or their neck. Some people get that butterflies. Maybe it's not the throwing up feeling. Maybe it's the butterflies in the stomach. You get kind of, oh my God, that feeling. It's not fear. Maybe that's that intuition going, oh, that's what I'm supposed to do. And then we step forward anyway. Because if we allow that, there's a book called The 5-Second Rule. Mel Robbins, I think is her name. She's on TED Talks on YouTube. And she did this book, and this is one way that I've learned to take some action, because our brain in less than 5 seconds will create reasons why not to. And so she did this 5-second rule, and I bought the book. It's a quick, easy read if you're willing to take the action behind it, because you count down from 5 to 1. She has her whole story about that, how she came to that. And when you get to 1, there's nowhere else to go, so you take action. Whatever the action is. My cousin bought some, what are they, crickets? Dried crickets that you eat. Right, gross thing, right? He's like, oh, I love them. And Lou's like, oh, yeah, they're pretty good. And I'm like, my breath gets shallow. I'm like, oh my God, really? A cricket? I'm like, okay. I did it in 3 seconds. I didn't even count from 5. I just went 3, 2, 1. Like that split second. I'm like, okay, I'm going to try it. Let me have one. And I did it. So when you get the intuitive hit, you can do that. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boom, go. No hesitation, no pausing. Just take the action. There's many ways to do that, but this Mel talks about in her book that if we go up, we'll never end, right? Numbers go up infinitely. But when we go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, in our mind, there's nowhere else to go. So take the action. And for her personally, it was about getting up out of bed instead of hitting the snooze button. Her marriage was falling apart. She was drinking too much, and she wasn't getting out of bed, going to work late. So that's a little piece of her story. And she saw on the news the rocket launch, and they count down, and she decided to try that. And I've tried it. And I sometimes don't go 5 seconds. I sometimes go 3, because in 5 I'll still create a reason. I don't want to. I want to lay in the bed. I don't want to get up, right? So they're simple things. Those are some discipline things in habits that we want to change, but it works in the intuitive place too. When we get that intuitive hunch that we just know something, some action we're supposed to take on that call on Monday, I could have done that, and I didn't. It didn't even enter my mind because I got engaged. So I got the intuition, but I also got engaged in that deeper programming of that sabotages me, that I'm listening to her words and not her actions and what I'm getting. Did any of you relate to that? Y'all get that sometimes we listen to the words because we want to hear it, because we didn't hear it when we were growing up. So sometimes we want to listen to the words and believe them when the actions are telling us something completely different.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
All the
The
time.
words are just bullshit. Yeah, the words are just bullshit. And so learning to trust what our sensations and our intuition is telling us. Because we don't always know why. But if I walk into a room and I don't like someone automatically because I get that feeling, I know y'all can relate to this. You walk in and you look at someone, you're like, oh, let me just go way over there. Right? They've got something that's coming off of them. How do we know that? Or how do we know that when we look at someone across the room and there's that spark and we just gravitate to that person, right? That's all sensation and all perception and all feeling. That's part of how our intuitive abilities work. And we each have different gifts. There's the hearing, the sight. Some people see things, the knowing. What are those 5 of them? Clairsentient, clairaudient, clairvoyant, and I forgot the last 2. But there's 5 different senses of our intuition that we have. And most of us have one that's the strongest. Most of us have all of them in some way, but we have one that's the strongest. I'm clairsentient. I just know things. Some people hear things. So now if you're hearing, it's learning how to discern what's my intuition and what's my ego. The ego is usually catty, doubting, maybe has an attitude. You hear it with kind of an attitude. Even though it's all your voice, when it's your intuition, it's clear and it's simple and it's direct. The clearer we get in our emotional bodies, the clearer we get in clearing out the garbage that we carry around. Even the soft, subtle voice becomes louder because we can hear it better, because we don't have so much muck in there clouding our view. I've covered a lot right there. I think I'll stop there and ask you what your insights are. Do you know what your gift is? It's okay if you don't.
Yeah, mine is
What are the 5 senses of intuition again?
Oh, I don't know them all. I don't remember them all. There was clairaudient, clairaudio, clairsentient, clairvoyant. I'd have to look them up. I'll have to look them up and tell you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think mine is I just have I have a sense of something. I just know. There's no explanation. I pulled up to the gas station the other day. There was a guy. He was, probably 5 or 6 feet from the end. I pulled up to a pump, and I said to myself, this guy is going to hit me. And instead of moving my car and moving to a different pump where he couldn't, I stayed there and waited until he hit me.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah, because I wanted to be right. I was like, really? Do you really have this gift? You know you do. You know this guy's going to hit you. And sure enough, he just starts rolling backward, and bam, right into me. And I finish pumping my gas, and when I get done, I come up to the front of my car, and he's standing there trying to push our vehicles apart.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And at any rate, I said, what do you want me to do here? He's like, move your car. Ooh. Ooh. I said, you want me to push you? He's like, no, you have a plastic bumper. It'll just tear it all to pieces. And I wasn't specific in saying I will push you, but I took the high road, and I physically pushed this man and his pickup out of the way.
Oh my goodness.
So I didn't need my workout that day. I got it in those 15 minutes of moving his truck.
Oh my gosh, yep. That knowing.
Yep.
Okay, so I looked it up. Here's there's actually 8 of them on this particular thing. So there's clairvoyance, which is clear seeing, claircognizance, which is what Wendy is talking about, clear knowing, clairaudience, clear hearing, clear empathy, clear emotional feeling. Here's a new one for me, clairgustance, which is clear tasting. There's one for smelling, clairsalience, touching, clairtangency. Clairsentience is clear physical feeling. So the ones that I most know about, clairvoyance, claircognizance, clairaudience, clairsentience, and clairempathy. Being empathic, that would be me. So there was actually somebody named 8 of them. Any good aha moments that you got?
Well, it's interesting. I keep trying to discount it, like you said, it's going to happen. But years ago, when my last dog was alive, we were leaving the dog with my mom and dad, and a voice told me on the way there, in my mind, it said, she's going to get lost, but it's okay. And I thought, what? What the heck does that mean? The dog's going to get lost and it's going to be okay. It's like out of the blue. I'm just watching the traffic go by and everything's fine, and that pops into my mind. I didn't think anything else about it until 6 days later when we got back and the dog was missing. She said, well, my mom said, well, the door was open. The dog just walked away. She shouldn't have left the house. Well, we spent 12 hours looking for the dog, came home, changed the recording on our machine, drove back to my folks' house 3 hours away. By the time we got back, the people who had found her had to go to work over at the casinos, and on the way back, they listened for the message again, they got it, and they dropped her off at my mom's house. And then I got it. I'm like, oh my goodness, really? In my mind, if I had remembered that I had heard that, I wouldn't have panicked so bad and been so upset with my mom. I would have just known that it'll be okay. And I didn't get it until it all happened, and I went, oh, I knew this would be okay. And that was just weird to me, and I've thought about that, and that was at least 10 years ago. And I still can't forget it.
Right? Yeah, it was a clear sign, clear audience. You hear.
Yeah, it was clear, and it just came through my mind, and I don't even know why or where, but it was like words I heard in my mind.
Right. So pay attention to that.
Yeah.
Yep. Stacy, are you on mute?
Yeah, but I can talk for a second. I had something similar to what was just said. Happened to me about 14 years ago. It's a long story, but I was driving up to court for my son yet again, and I had a voice go through my head that this isn't yours, this is his journey. You will be okay. And I listened to that, and that set me free from a lot of different things. And I'd like to say that I trust my intuition all the time, but I don't. I so doubt myself all the time. So I really, really, really liked what you shared about that 5-second rule, and I'm going to try and start implementing that into my days.
Yeah, you can find her on YouTube, TED Talks, and she'll explain a little bit more about it, but it's that simple.
What's her name again, Marty?
Mel, M-E-L, Robbins. The 5-second rule. Yep. We watched her at a networking group, and it was, I went home and bought the book, and I read it in like 2 days, and it's a really simple read. and has science to back it all up, too, about it's changing the neural pathways when we make the choice to take a different action. The different action is the counting down and to take the action that we've decided to take instead of allowing our brain to run amok as it does on its own.